You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Midcap Radar. The market is basically has taken a big swing move. It swooned to being down about 160, 170 points, and that now it's come back to being off the lows once again. I think, are we at the day's highest point? We very well could be. Let me just quickly see. Okay, the high of the day was 9818. So not this, 97.86 is where we are on the Nifty spot. But that's not very far. I mean, 28, 30 points off the day's high on the Nifty is where things stand at this point in time. I think the Bank Nifty also should come up on your screen and you'll see a similar kind of picture. So it's been a session predominantly where dips have been bought rather than rallies sold. I mean, the big dump came right at the beginning, right at market opening, and from there on, we are off quite a bit from the day's lowest level. Okay, I think my colleague Anisha also joins in. Anisha, good afternoon. I think we've got the management of Westlife Development, which is joining us now. They posted a weak set of fourth quarter numbers owing to COVID-19. The company is seeing a 30% fall in EBITDA and almost a 7% decline in same-store sales growth. Amit Jatia, Vice Chairman of Westlife Development, is now joining in to run us through the numbers and, more importantly, how things are looking now. Amit, thanks very much. Good afternoon. Great to have you here. Could you talk a little bit about what is the situation in this quarter so far? April to June so far, how are things holding up?
Sure. I mean, we cannot really talk about the current quarter because that would become forward-looking. But what I can tell you is that we have now 208 restaurants open out of the 320. A lot of them, the dine-ins are not yet open. But essentially, we've been able to use our drive-thrus, our takeaway, and of course, we were doing deliveries as well. And as we shared earlier, that all of this together was over 50% of sales pre-COVID. So, we are slowly getting back to normal. We have plans to open another 40 to 50 restaurants in the next couple of weeks. So we'll come closer to 300 by the end of the month, hopefully.
Right now, you said you have 208 open.
Correct.
And 40 to 50 in the next couple of weeks, basically.
Correct.
And how are these 208 been faring now? What's the latest?
So like I said, we cannot share data of this quarter.
Right. But just roughly, without going into numbers, I mean, what's the rate of improvement, in dining, takeout? I mean, just some color.
Yeah, so broadly, what I can tell you is this, that week on week, it is picking up because what happens is from panic, people move to caution. And of course, we are waiting for the new normal to set in. But one, we are seeing week on week business increasing. If I were to look at even 2-3 weeks ago, it was only delivery. But now takeaway has really taken off. And particularly, we have over 70 drive-through restaurants, which has turned out to be a huge advantage because, the drive-through business in many cases is as much as it would have been in store pre-COVID. So, all in all, it's looking slowly picking up.
Sure. Okay, Mr. Jatia, that point is taken with respect to 200 stores being open right now, and you expect it to go up to 300 by the end of the month. But only those companies will stand tall in this tough time who will be able to manage to control the cost as well as the strong balance sheets. What are you doing about controlling costs? Are you renegotiating contracts with respect to rent? Are you looking at recalibrating your expansion plan as well?
So, we've always taken a long-term view of our business, and we feel that while this is very tough at this point in time, 6 months later, 1 year later, this will be again a blip in the big picture. So first and foremost, you see, we have always had percentage of sale or revenue-linked rental agreements with 80-90% of the malls, or pretty much all the malls. And we yet believe it's a long-term relationship with the mall. And they've been very supportive to us as well. So because it's plain revenue share, we've not had as difficulty as much as other people. But moving forward as well, we are looking at it from a long-term point of view. So rental is one aspect. The other is, commodity prices have come off, and we are trying to take advantage of that in our supply chain costs. And thirdly, we are looking at every single fixed cost that you can imagine, including corporate office, including, rentals for our corporate office space and things like that. So we are looking at everything with a fine-tooth comb nail and we are trying to bring that down by at least 15 to 20%.
Okay, Mr. Jatia, that's good to know that you're looking to bring down costs by at least 15 to 16%. But what happens with the capex plan? What will be the kind of new store addition that we should expect in FY21? And will plans change for FY22 as well?
No, we are not looking at FY22 to change at this point in time. But FY21, obviously, till the new normal does not set in, there is no point in opening new restaurants. We don't want to create more confusion with landlords and so on. But before the shutdown, we had 5 or 7 restaurants that were ready. And clearly, as soon as the new normal sets in, which we hope is the second half of the year, we do expect to open that. And we will continue re-imaging and doing experience of the future restaurants. So that's really a trajectory that we can see for FY21. But more color on that probably in the next 3 to 4 months.
Amit, sorry, I missed that point about rent. You said, well, malls are being very supportive and you said we're looking at every possible fixed cost very, very finely. But on rental specifically, how many are on rent? How many are owned? Can you give us some sense?
So basically, we don't share breakup, but we have a pretty diversified real estate portfolio. And that's become a core strength and competitive advantage for us at Westlife. So what I mean by that is we are very well spread between malls, high street, drive-thrus, and transit points.
Right.
Firstly, in malls, it's all we do 20-year agreements. And because these are 20-year agreements in malls, we typically do only percentage sale. Yet at the same time, we don't want to be opportunistic. The whole idea is to develop a win-win with landlords. And at least when we are working with them, they've been very supportive. And pretty much for the closed period, they've been very supportive in terms of giving us relief, even though we were only revenue share, but we still wanted to work with them.
Yes.
Now, post that, we are continuing to have conversations to see how the future will hold.
Percentage of sales, you mean from you with your franchise, or you mean with the mall? I mean,
we don't franchise. We don't franchise.
Right.
So with malls, typically it is a revenue share agreement that we have at Westlife.
Okay. And you're looking at negotiating that, and you're saying malls basically generally have been supportive. And what percentage of these are located in malls? You said they're split between drive-thrus, high streets.
Like I said, we don't share that breakup, unfortunately. But like I said, we are very, very well diversified.
Right.
Because imagine we would not have 208 restaurants open if we were only in malls, because malls are not yet permitted to operate in most places. So it's a pretty well diversified portfolio.
All right. Amit, thanks very much. Appreciate you joining us and patiently explaining all of those things to us. Good luck, and we hope to speak with you soon again. M&M consolidated M&M plus MVML numbers are flashing at the bottom of the screen. There's a loss which has been reported over 3,000 odd crores. Revenues have come in slightly higher though, 9,005 crores as compared to 8,606 crores. That's the revenue number. 3255 crores is the loss as compared to a poll which actually called for a profit of about 404 crores. So these are basic numbers which are flashing at this point in time. I think we should have Sonia with us and in a bit, and we'll take the numbers and discussion forward. But the basics are on your screen. Revenues seem to have beaten expectations by a little bit, whereas profits, I mean, there are no profits. It's a large loss. And the expectation was for about a 400 odd crore, a profit figure. Anisha, anything else?
No, Prashant, even I'm struggling to open that release. But remember, the expectation was already that it is going to be a weak quarter. But the company has actually managed to hold the top line. So that should be taken well by the street. I'm assuming there is some type of one-off which has happened towards the bottom line, because the loss is looking way too large than what we expected.
Anisha, there is a one-time loss of 3,578 crores. So, I mean, I guess that explains it. That explains the big loss that we've seen. Okay, I think 3578 crores. I mean, if you knock this off, and we'll attribute this to what exactly M&M is saying. Margins are also on your screen, 13.6% as compared to a poll of 11%. Actually, margins are much better than expectations. Prakash Dewan is with us. He tracks the auto space closely. Prakash, I trust you have the basic numbers. There's a large one-time loss. If you exclude that, numbers should be in line. Revenues are slightly higher. Margins look better as well. Your first thoughts?
Yes, Prashant, very clearly, so it's about a 250 crores operational profit.